share.
Yes, this was for.
Can I give it back to you after I do the opening? Okay, thank you.
Because that has the time for the clock on it.
Ah, gotcha, okay.
You're ready.
All right, let's get started. So I'd like to, this is the 18th of September, the Oldham County Board of Adjustments and Appeals hearing. Call the meeting to order. The first thing we're going to do is swear in staff, and then we'll have the introduction of each application by the board secretary for each case. Then we'll have a staff report by the staff members of the county. And then we'll have a presentation by the applicant of their case. That will be no longer than 20 minutes. Questions of the applicant by the board. And then testimony from anyone speaking in favor of the applicant for 10 minutes. And then questions from the board. And then testimony from anyone opposing the applicant, limited to 10 minutes. And then questions of that person. And then the rebuttal by the applicant, that's limited to 5 minutes. Rebuttal by the opposition, that's limited to 5 minutes. Final statements of the opposition for 5 minutes. Final statements of the applicant for 5 minutes with no new testimony on either one of those. Final questioning by the board of any party. Then we close the floor and we have a board discussion and a motion with the statement of conditions and the applicant final verbiage acceptance that's recorded, and then the final decision. So, with that, the first thing to do is to swear in staff.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. The first case then is OC 25-36. And we need the introduction by the secretary.
An application has been filed requesting a rear yard setback variance located at 1800 block of Victory Lane in Prospect.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman,
Morning.
members of the board, Ms. Egger, Mr. Baxter, John Hine, Oldham County Planning and Development Services, Planner 1. An application has been filed requesting a rear yard setback variance for property located at the 1800 block of Victory Lane in Prospect. Zoning is R4 residential, land use is residential multifamily and undeveloped, and it is 1.046 acres. For our site history, on August 19th of 2004, Oldham County Board of Adjustments approved a conditional use permit, front, side, and rear yard setback variances for the property to be used as a boat storage and repair facility. In October of 2022, plans for the first 8 units known as Oldham County Townhomes Phase 1 were heard at the Technical Review Committee. Since the lot was zoned appropriately and no waivers or variances requested, the project was only required to go through the site plan review process prior to being issued a building permit. In July of 2024, landscape and site plans for Phase 1 were approved at staff level. On August 26th of 2025, the Planning Commission approved a waiver of Division 300-050 perimeter landscape buffer area. For our case history, the Phase 2 went to the TRC meeting on the 19th of February in 2025, went to its Planning Commission case on the 26th of August. The agenda for this case was posted to the planning website on the 29th of August. Adjoining property owner notices mailed on the 2nd of September, and public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on the 11th of September. Here we have the property in discussion today. The zoning, R4, same as the surrounding area. The applicant proposes building an additional 8 townhome-style residential units on the property. If approved, there will be 16 total townhomes on the lot. Section 090-020 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinances states that the required rear yard setback in R4 zoning district is 25 feet. The applicant's plans propose a 14-foot rear yard setback. Therefore, they are requesting an 11-foot rear yard setback variance. We have some site photos. To the left is the Phase 1 that's already been constructed. This is the lot that Phase 2 would be built on.
So can we go back to that for a second? So is the proposal that the Phase 2 will have the same setbacks, it'll look just like the Phase 1?
Because of the angle of the lot, I'll allow the applicant to speak to that a little bit more, but essentially because of the angle of the lot, as they continue the line of this build at the very end, they encroach upon that rear yard setback. The 25 feet requirement in residential in R4. And in summary, the required rear yard setback is 25 feet, requested rear yard setback is 14, and the variance requested is 11. And I do have, sorry I didn't include it in the slides, but I have a large set of plans. If we can switch to the projector for a moment, and I'll show you exactly where this is. "14-foot area that's being discussed, where it encroaches on this angled lot line.
Where does it hit it? Where does it hit 25 foot?
Yeah, perhaps the applicant can go over that one. I'm not sure exactly on these plans where it is. So potential conditions of approval, the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments, and that the previously granted CUP for a boat storage and repair facility shall be revoked. That's it for me. If you have any questions.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I do have a letter of opposition to read into the statement.
Okay.
This is from Catherine Piles, excuse me, and she states that Oldham County guidelines require a minimum of 25-foot setback from adjoining properties. The developer requests to reduce this to 15 feet and add a rear deck. It is unclear how the building, deck, stormwater retention basin, proposed fencing, and required landscape barrier will fit within the 15-yard setback. This raises serious feasibility concerns. It is unclear how the developer will be in compliance with the 15-foot setback requirement of the basin, outlet pipe, and emergency spillway as stated by the county engineer. Could the developer move the units 10 feet forward and 10 feet towards the road, to meet the setback requirements instead of seeking a variance? Recent sales data shows a decline in price per square foot for homes adjacent to Phase 1. Reducing setbacks and placing new units closer to the existing homes will likely further depress property values.
Before you step away, if the variance is approved, the zoning is okay already, so they wouldn't need to go to planning and zoning or anybody else to get any other approvals, right?
They'll still have to submit a site plan, and engineering is going to require them to submit a stormwater retention plan.
Okay, so it'd be staff approval.
Staff approval,
Okay,
yes,
all right,
correct.
thank you.
Do you know where on the site plan the 1 foot decrease in landscape buffer is?
It is at the exact same location as the as that 14-foot area that I showed.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah. Director Fisher was just clarifying that they have already been to Planning Commission and been approved for that waiver.
Okay, thank you. So we have a presentation by the applicant. What's next? And if everybody with your group, whoever's going to speak, could stand up and get sworn in.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
So we need your name and address then.
My name is Camille Hessen. I'm with Heritage Engineering, and I am here today with our developer, Chad Sprigler, and our attorney, Dayton Blair. Your address? 603 North Shore Drive, Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Oh, I just noticed something. Mm-hmm. So the owner is PYC LLC.
Yes.
So is the applicant Chad Springler, or is it PYC LLC?
I'm Chad Spurley with Partners and PYC, as well with Andy Simmons, the other partner. Chad Sprigler, the Sprigler Company, 214 East Elm Street, New Albany, Indiana.
Okay, technically then, isn't the applicant PYC LLC?
PYC owns the property, correct?
Yes.
You got an attorney with you today?
Yes.
Okay, so and LLC has to be represented by an attorney, so sir, you need to enter your appearance if you would.
Dayton Blair on behalf of PYC LLC.
And I assume, because we talked about this, I assume you all were aware that PYC was the applicant. There was just a, so it should have been listed on the, I guess, on the agenda as PYC, because even though Mr. Sprigler is a partner in that company, PYC is the applicant? Yes?
So on the form here, it shows Chad Springler.
On the agendas for Board of Adjustments, we typically don't put any sort of, we just do what they're asking for and the address. So typically, that's why that's not listed on the agenda, but
I see.
they were aware they had to bring counsel. Counsel is here, so.
Okay, good enough. All right, well then I guess we're ready for you to make your presentation.
This is our site location. I've kind of spelled the border out with a red line so you can clearly see the tapering of the site. We have that front property line, which runs parallel to the road, but the back property line does taper. We have completed phase 1 of this development, and we are now looking at phase 2, which is impacted by that rear setback.
Can you go back? So that shows landscaping or trees, whatever, all the way along the back perimeter.
This would be
Yeah.
our approved landscape plan.
Okay,
And this does show that consistent landscape buffer of evergreen trees. I think we're providing like 3 times or over 3 times the amount of the required landscape buffer within that 14-foot landscape buffer area. And then this should help clearly illustrate the setbacks on the site. This should be variance request. I apologize for that. But as you can see, the front property line is right here, and we have a 25-foot setback at this red line, which runs parallel to the roadway. And then the location of the 25-foot rear setback is this red line right here. So these units would be impacted by that 25-foot rear setback. We are requesting a variance to reduce that rear yard setback by 11 feet. The required setback is 25. We would like it to be 14, which is consistent with the landscape buffer area. And that would be, therefore, the reduction of 11 feet in our variance request for 11 feet. You can see by the existing conditions and tapering of the site, it creates a pinch point on site, therefore establishing setbacks that make development difficult unless they're encroached upon. The proposed reduction will not affect the buffering of the site because it is consistent with the 14-foot landscape buffer. And the 25-foot front yard setback is being maintained, and this creates a cohesive building alignment from the roadway and helps keep a consistent feel with the existing buildings. And then maintaining that front yard setback, this 25-foot front yard setback also allows for any adequate right-of-way if in the future this roadway, which is private now, if that is dedicated to the county, this will allow for adequate right-of-way. Let's see, this slide shows the development within the area. You can kind of see it's consistent with other development around it. Have some pictures of the existing buildings on site. This screen would be, more screening will be provided once the landscape plan is installed. And that is it. I'm here to answer any questions you guys may have.
So the first unit is the only one that hits the 25-foot setback.
Yeah, it's the only one that's within that.
So would it be possible to just make the unit smaller, like not go back as far?
I think the unit size meets the requirement per code. I don't know if we can make them any smaller. Plus, we have the existing units on site, so they're keeping consistent with what's already there.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
With it being a private road, is there currently a requirement for a front setback?
The front setback would be that 25 feet.
Okay, that's the
The
same
right-of-way for a
private.
private road is smaller than a public road, but if in the
Correct.
future the road was dedicated to
Yeah.
become a public road, then you would need a greater right-of-way on either side of that road. So
Yeah. Unless it was grandfathered in.
unless it was grandfathered in, which, you know, I don't know the stipulations for doing that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Do you know
correct.
what the distance is for a private road?
I believe the private roadway right-of-way is 40 feet, so it would be 20 feet from edge of pavement on either side of the road.
Okay.
But we're leaving this for any, you know, future, if the road is dedicated. And also, we are providing an adequate amount of space within the driveways to maneuver 2 cars in and out.
Okay.
I think one of the images you flashed up, it showed the retention pond. Has that been engineered and calculated to hold? all the runoff?
We've done preliminary calculations on it, but it has not been engineered yet. We're looking into potentially doing like an infiltration and detention basin to treat the flow and the amount of water on site. But that is planned to be in this area back here.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Any questions of the board for any other members of your team that want to present?
I think we're good,
Okay.
unless you have any questions.
Good. So testimony from anyone speaking in favor of the applicant? Anybody? Testimony from anyone opposing the applicant? Nobody, so other than the letter we received. And then, so there's no rebuttal by the applicant. Basically, we're up to closing comments by the applicant.
Really, I have none. I mean, we are maintaining our buffer between, our landscape buffer between us and the neighbors, and we have, like I said, provided 3 times the required plantings per that buffer requirement. And our setback request is, for the variance, is consistent with that landscape buffer, that 14-foot landscape buffer, so that would be it. Yeah.
Are you guys okay with a condition basically asking for that water engineering plan to be completed? It may already be required. I'm not.
Can you elaborate on that?
Just to make sure that there's adequate infrastructure in place for water retention.
So a condition that the variance be granted?
Would be that that plan, the plan is completed.
Yes, and
Okay.
I mean, I think that has to be done anyway. When we submit our construction plans, we have to provide adequate detention
Okay.
and treatment of the water. It just has not been done yet because we're in the preliminary stages.
Yep.
So just so you know, anything over an acre of disturbance is required to go through the county engineer's office for a stormwater and erosion control. They have all these acronyms and things for forms that they have. So I don't know if I'm saying the exact word correctly, but this is over an acre of disturbance. They'll ensure that with the other development that stormwater detention meets the calculation. So that's all a process when they start their construction plans.
Okay.
I have a question. So this letter from Heritage Engineering on March 3rd indicates that PYC proposes to provide fencing and 100% of the required landscape plantings along the rear of the property line. Do we need to put that in the conditions of approval, or what are your thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I was going to say that may have been, is that in the approved?
That was a topic discussed at the Plan Commission. And we have our approved landscape plan, so unless we amend this, then we're kind of bound to supply this. That's what,
I mean, we could put it in the.
I don't know exactly what was,
I think there was a waiver presented to the planning commission, and you all should know what's in that waiver, probably.
we waived the distance on that. We needed to encroach into the landscape buffer 1 foot, and we reduced a 15-foot landscape buffer to 14 feet. And that was approved at the Plan Commission. So,
And so the landscape plan that you have on your screen right now, I mean, obviously that was approved back in the Phase 1 development, back still in my senior planner days. So a fence can be put up in addition to those plantings. So that would have been something that would have been, approved within the original landscape plan. I don't know if it's something you need to necessarily put in the conditions of approval, because that would have either already been approved that they could put a fence up to further, block the neighbors from having to see this building.
So it's not necessary?
I don't believe so,
Okay,
no.
good. All right. Any other comments?
One more. For the engineer? What? It's about the access behind it.
Go ahead.
Is there any kind of zoning requirements for access behind the unit?
do not believe there is.
Okay.
No. Ron shook his head. No.
No.
So, okay. Any other questions of the board to the people? No? Okay, so I guess we'll thank you for your presentation. We'll close the floor then and open up discussion among the board.
I'm not too fond about, there's no green space behind the unit. There's just not enough room for people to live, I don't think. I'd like to see a lot more space, so I believe I would vote no.
I mean, what's the alternative here? Like, if we don't go this route, I feel like it does deprive them of the potential use of the land. I feel like the county does need more housing inventory. I think if they went with the plan as proposed today in evidence, it would maintain a more cohesive look, as they said. It would look strange to have it staggered, I imagine. I do feel like they probably knew the dimensions of the lot when they purchased it, but I think that it doesn't create like an unreasonable nuisance,
So in my mind, there's three alternatives. One is to build only one unit, which would be in compliance. The second is for all of the other units to be smaller so that they squeeze them in to the, to be within compliance. Or the third is to just not do the project. So there's really only, I can't see any other alternative. Staggering, I think, would then probably encroach upon the front yard variance.
It would.
Then you've got safety issues with roads and utilities and all that kind of stuff.
But currently it is a theoretical setback. That's if
again?
It's a theoretical setback currently.
Right. Yeah.
It hasn't been adopted by the county. It is still a private road, so it could be adjusted.
Can planning and zoning speak to that?
Just because it's a private road doesn't mean that they don't have to follow our setback requirements. Even
Okay.
people on private roads have to follow our setback requirements.
Okay, I
Yes.
thought it could be moved forward some.
Well, I don't know. I'm not speaking to that. I'm only speaking to they still have to follow our front yard setbacks even though they're on a private road.
Okay.
So whether it can shift or not, I haven't reviewed that, but I'm just speaking to the front yard setback on private roads.
Okay, thank you.
I guess here's my concern and my thought. The lot size and shape has not changed since the purchase. I mean, they knew going into it what the requirements were. So I'm just not sure I would be in favor.
Yeah, I mean, it does, you know, it fits within the comprehensive plan. I guess that's the one thing, and as you pointed out, it does, the county needs housing. There's plenty of other land. I'm arguing with myself. There's other land in the
No,
county, so.
I have lists of little notes for both sides, actually.
Yeah. I guess that kind of, as I'm looking through the information that's in the package, you know, there's a letter from the Prospect Yacht Club and talking about slips, and so presumably or apparently people who are going to be buying these properties are into boating and recreation type uses. Because it's close to the river.
Well, the units could be redrawn.
Say again?
The units could be redrawn. They could be wider than they are deep. There'd be less units. You'd still have the same square footage. It would just take different planning.
Yeah, or they could make them smaller units, right?
Well, the unit would be the same, but it would just be wider. You know, like you say, with the same square footage, no matter what you're going to put it on.
Just be wider, you're saying?
Yes.
Or taller, maybe.
But either way, you always go up.
Okay, well, if there's no,
Is there a way we can ask them if is it too late to call them back up and ask if we can reshape, like redraw the plans to make it where they're not as deep, but maybe more wide?
I think we could just make a motion to reopen the floor. Is that
Thank you.
right?
All right, make a motion to reopen the floor to ask questions.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Go ahead.
Is there a way that the plans for the second set of units could be redrawn to make it so that they're maybe wider and a different floor plan than what's already laid out?
It's my understanding that these are, what is it, 1,600 square feet. It may get tricky to redraw that footprint, and it
Why?
wouldn't, it
Why is
would
that?
not be, it would not be consistent with what's existing. And I think to go any less than 1,600 square feet, it just kind of puts it, you know, it's not as maybe marketable or.
You would still have the same frontage. You'd have the same building material on the front. You'd just be wider.
Yeah, if you look at the streetscape and just the consistency of it, and we are pretty tight already because they're single-car garages now, and so we're trying to keep that consistency throughout.
Yeah, I realize you just have less units.
Yeah. You know, I think what we've done now is really comparable to it's really nice street through there coming back to the yacht club. So we're trying to keep it all the same. And And then just with the driveways too, it's gonna be pretty tight as well.
Oh, I'm reminded, we need your name and address, please.
Oh, myself? Oh,
Yes.
sorry, Chad Sprigler with the Sprigler Company and PYC LLC.
And address?
214 East Elm Street, New Albany, Indiana.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you think that with the landscape that's been approved, that will adequately buffer the neighbors who maybe didn't account for this when they built their homes?
Can you go back to that picture?
I did want to show this because it kind of shows the context of our property in relation to some other properties. There are some properties that do get quite close to property lines out here. So we are maintaining 14 feet from that, but our landscape plan more than 3 times satisfies the requirement. And I think the height requirement is even like 3 feet, and we're providing evergreen trees.
Go back to that one photo I took from the backside.
Yeah.
We have a photo. So I actually took this photo here. That's from the neighborhood behind, and those trees are existing there now. But we're going to add, like she just said, three times the amount. Are we showing a fence as well?
I believe there is a fence on the plans as well.
We're going to
So-
put a nice wooden privacy fence in there as well.
How tall will that fence be?
6-foot
6
privacy
foot.
fence.
Okay.
So yeah, so it will be right here, kind of where you see this house with the pool. We'll have landscaping and a fence there as well,
Okay.
all the way down. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's just going to really clean up that neighborhood. It's kind of the road now. It's pretty
Yeah.
tore up, and so we plan to go in and address that when we're doing our driveways. And I think it's going to really clean up that neighborhood and give it a nice streetscape as well with the landscaping.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
If you go back to the bird's eye view, what's the plan for the remaining green space to the right of the buildings?
Yeah, we're just going to leave it open green space,
Okay.
and we may put amenities in there potentially, but mostly just for green space
Okay.
for those the residents.
One other question, sewage, water, any utilities that run behind the property?
Yes, and we do have approval from MSD on that. The sanitary is connecting at this point right here, so it would be run back along the rear of the property and connecting to this stub out right here.
Okay.
And we do have approval for that. We have the capacity for that.
I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions?
I'm good.
Close the floor again. And any other discussion among the board members?
Yeah, I think my concerns were addressed. My concern was for the neighbors, that, this wasn't something that they had necessarily planned for when they built their homes. But I think with a privacy fence and enough coverage in landscape that it wouldn't be visible, it would be okay.
I also think the density of the proposed development is very consistent with that area. Especially if you look at the other overhead view, it looks even more dense in some other areas surrounding.
I still think there'd be an easy remedy, so I will vote no, but then that's,
Any other discussion? Are we ready for a motion?
All right, I'll go ahead. Move to approve OC 25-036, the variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of zoning regulations based on evidence seen today and presented by the applicant. Because it maintains a consistent and cohesive look for the neighborhood. The unique shape of the lot creates problem for the construction. And the final front yard setback that's being enabled by this change will allow proper integration of this road in the future, potentially.
Conditions?
Right. Conditions would be that the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing, and that the previously granted CUP for a boat storage and repair facility shall be revoked.
I'll second.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, thank you.
What-
I'll vote in favor.
Oh, okay.
So 3 in favor. Okay. The next one is... You're approved. You can go, unless you want to watch more. Yes, it came back. Yeah, thank you. The next one is OC 25-038.
An application has been filed requesting a conditional use permit, located variance, and maximum square footage variance for property located at 5950 Old LaGrange Road in Crestwood.
Good morning, Board of Adjustments members. Anna Barge, Senior Planner. This property is located at 5950 Old LaGrange Road in Crestwood. They've applied for a conditional use permit for detached accessory dwelling unit. They also have 2 variances to consider with that, a maximum square footage variance and a location variance. And this is that proposal that was just read off. So the zoning for this property is R2 residential, and the land use is residential, and the property is just under 2 acres. There's no site history on this property. So the agenda was posted to the website on August 29th, with the adjoining property owners mailed on September 2nd, and the notice in the Oldham Era was on September 11th. So the property is outlined in red, and I want to make sure you really take a close look at this property because it'll be relevant later. So this is Old LaGrange Road, and they access off of, they actually have an access easement that runs this way, but they access off of this driveway here to access their property, and their house faces this driveway. And the proposed ADU will be right here, or more like right here, but. So as you can see, most of the zoning in the area is R2 residential. The applicant is proposing a 684 square foot accessory dwelling unit that is wheelchair accessible. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for the detached accessory dwelling unit. According to Oldham County Zoning Ordinance, Section 250040E1, detached accessory dwelling units may be allowed only after approval of a conditional use permit. The applicant is also requesting 2 variances, one for maximum square footage and the other one for being located between the house and the road. According to Oldham County Zoning Ordinance, the same section, but E5, detached accessory dwelling units shall not exceed 25% of the primary structure's square footage. According to the PVA, the primary residence is 1,453 square feet, which would allow 363.25 square feet of living space in the ADU. So I'm going to go back there. Okay, the applicant is requesting a 684 square feet of primary structure, a variance of 320.75 square feet. And so that is, I corrected it, but I don't know where it went on my slide. That is, I can't remember what percentage of the primary structure, but I think it's like about 50 or 60. Can't do that math on the fly. But anyway, the percentage I have in your notes is wrong. I decided to do a percentage difference formula. Not sure why I wanted to overcomplicate the math, but it's actually, instead of a percentage of, I did a percentage difference. So anyway, but the variance is 320 square feet. So according to the Oldham County Zoning Ordinance, Section 250040, Section E8, the detached accessory dwelling units shall not be located in front of the primary structure. And remember what I said earlier with the lot layout. Because of that lot layout, in reference to Old LaGrange Road, the proposed detached accessory dwelling unit is located between the house and the road, even though it actually does sit further back as far as setback from the front of the house. It is going to be between the house and the road, so they do have to ask for that location variance, which is why I have this slide right here. So the house is right here. The accessory dwelling unit is going to be approximately where this mouse is right here, but then you have LaGrange Road that's up here. So it is located between the house and LaGrange Road, which is why they need a location variance. It's just a technicality, really, with that.
Can you go back to that? So the other road there, is that just a driveway?
Just a shared driveway.
Shared driveway?
Yes. So this is the view from the front of the house towards the proposed ADU location. And then this is the back of the house towards the ADU location. So this is the plan. LaGrange Road is this way, and then they use that shared driveway, but as you can see, the actual existing easement's right here, but that's okay. So here's where they their driveway off of the shared driveway, and where their primary residence exists today, and where they propose to do the ADU in the septic, or the existing septic, but this is where they propose to do the ADU. So again, LaGrange Road is over here, ADU is here, house is here. So this is the proposed approximate layout of the ADU, where it'll have covered car parking, an enclosed porch, 1 bedroom, a living area, kitchen, and 1 bathroom. So here are those regulations that I mentioned. So we're addressing E1 with the conditional use permit. And then also with E2, it is allowed in this zoning district R2. And then they're doing a variance of this 25%. And then the detached accessory dwelling unit, they're getting a variance because it's located technically in front of the house. But let me go back to this plan here. It does have a further setbacks than what this house is, and that's what I mean by setback when you orient this way. But it does meet all of the setback requirements, since this is technically the front yard and this is technically the side yard right here and here. So they meet all of the setback requirements. So they're asking for the location variance and the square footage variance. Hopefully I didn't muddy the water too much there, but these are the regulations required, which they are meeting all of these regulations required for R2. And as you can see, accessory dwelling units are conditional use permit in this zoning classification. So in summary, the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit for detached accessory dwelling units, or for a detached accessory dwelling unit located at 5950 Old LaGrange Road. So for this one, the conditional use permit shall only apply to the plan considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. So I have different motions for each one. So here is that variance. So there's the maximum square footage allowed would have been 363.25 square feet. The requested variance is 684, and or the requested square footage is 684 with that requested variance of 320.75. And then that same potential condition of approval, but with the variance shall only apply to the plan considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. And then lastly, for the location variance, and it has the same potential condition of approval. So there's 3 motions here today.
In the survey, why is it split into tract 2, tract A, and tract 1?
So they technically have 3 tracks that they own.
Okay.
Yeah.
And were there any letters for or against
No, we
project?
didn't receive any letters in support or against.
All right.
Any other questions of Anna? So the question I have is, it looks like this is like almost a second home type thing?
And it's going to be and the applicant will speak to this more, but the applicant lives in this house, and this is proposed for her mother, her adult mother.
I
Or
see.
I guess obviously adult.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Okay. The applicant? Need to have you state your name and address and be sworn in.
I'm Ann Howard. Address is 5950 Old LaGrange Road, Crestwood, Kentucky 40014.
Leslie Hagan, 5950 Old LaGrange Road.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is our first rodeo. Yeah, so basically we purchased this property together. We're co-owners in it, and we purchased it for a generational living situation. I have 2 children, and then my mom as well. We're all living in that 1,450 square feet right now. So that's been an adventure. So we're hoping to get this approved so that we can get her own space while still being close as she ages. I feel sad to talk about that, but we did want it to be ADA accessible because you never know what's going to happen in the future and what her needs might be in the future.
They're going to ask you, because this came up at another one, you need to explain why this would impose some kind of hardship on you not to be able to do it the way you're doing it. So in other words, you're asking to put the building in between, why it's important to be able to put the building in the location that you're putting it, which technically is in between the house and the street, and why the size is important to you, and that kind of stuff. They need to have that in the record to be able to make a record about it.
Okay, thank you for explaining that. So as far as the location goes, we planned meticulously for it to not be in front of the house, not realizing that it was technically considered in front of the house because it was between the street and the house. We were going off of the driveway when we planned this so that it would be set back further from the front of the house. We put our septic tank there based on that. And so to put it in any other location, we wouldn't be able to connect the new septic that we put in. The old septic that we had technically wasn't even big enough for the existing house when we had that evaluated by the Department of Health. And so we did go on and put one in that's rated for 5 bedrooms, even though we'll only be adding 1 additional bedroom on the property. So that's why the location is important, to be able to hook up to that septic. And then as far as the size goes, 386 square feet is very, very small. And so, or 346, excuse me. And there's no way that we could make it wheelchair accessible at that size. We've gone through probably 25 iterations of layouts and sizes, and we started at the 25%, and then, we were like, well, what about 30%? And we just couldn't make the walkways and the doorways and the things accessible. And so this was the smallest that we could get it while still being comfortable and ADA accessible.
Do you own tract 1 and tract 2?
Yes.
Okay.
We own all 3 of those.
Any other questions from board members? Okay. Okay, I guess that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, so testimony from anybody else in favor of the applicant? Or anybody opposed to the applicant? Okay, so we'll close the floor. Any other comments or anything that you need to say? Okay, so we'll close the floor for discussion among the board.
I'm good.
No concerns?
No concerns either.
Okay, so we're ready for a motion?
Okay, I move to approve the conditional use permit because of the proposal. The proposed use is not in conflict with elements, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan based on the one or more of the following factors. Granting conditional use permit will allow the proper integration of the community and use specifically named in the zoning regulations. The character and objectives of the proposal and their potential impacts on the community and its surroundings are appropriate.
So there's three motions, so let's just do one at a
Yeah.
time. Yep.
The conditional use would be the conditional use permit shall apply only to the application considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. And the detached ADU will not be used as a short-term rental property.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Second motion.
Move to approve the variance because it will not adversely affect public health, safety, or welfare, and not alter the essential character of the vicinity. It will not cause a hazard of nuisance to the public and will not allow unusual circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations.
I'd add the variance dimensions of the 320.75 square feet.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't, no, this is for the conditional use permit. This is for
And
the-
that's based upon the testimony of the applicant concerning the inability to make it handicap accessible?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I'm asking, so.
Yeah, yes, to make it,
I might be suggesting a little bit, but.
to make it usable for the applicant, yes.
So we'll incorporate that in the motion. Okay, any conditions?
The variance shall apply only to the application considered on September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and the third motion?
You have to vote.
Oh,
You're not
vote.
voting.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Aye. The third motion.
Move to approve the variance because, I'm on the wrong one. Yeah, right one. Move to approve the variance because it will not affect the adverse to public health, safety, or welfare, and is not essential to character of the general vicinity. It will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public. Will not allow unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of zoning regulations. The restrictive application of the provisions and the regulations would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land and would create an unnecessary hardship on the applicant for the main reason that they can't be able to use their property for their family care. The conditions of approval will be a variance shall only apply to the application considered on December 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. You're good to go. Sorry, I'm accustomed to being chairman of another board when the chair only votes in the event of a tie, so that's why.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see 25-39.
An application has been filed requesting a front yard setback variance for property located at 1818 Zachary Drive, LaGrange.
So we do have an update. It's going to be a front yard building line limit variance. We haven't seen a lot of these, and I'll go into explanation as to why they're asking for a front yard building line limit variance in my presentation. This is at 1818 Zachary Drive in LaGrange. So the property is zoned R2 residential. It's an undeveloped lot that's just over an acre. And there's no site history. So the agenda was posted to the website on August 29th, with the adjoining property owners mailed on September 2nd, and the public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on September 11th. So this is the property in question right here outlined in red. And as you can see, most of the property in the area is zoned R2 residential with a little sliver of CO1 back here. So the applicant is requesting a building line limit variance for a 1 acre tract to build a single family residence. According to Oldham County Zoning Ordinance 060-020, the front yard setback requirement in R2 zoning is 35 feet. However, the parcel in the Woodridge Estates subdivision, or the parcel is located in that subdivision. When the subdivision plat was recorded, the subdivision required a 50-foot building line limit. As you can see here, I highlighted that. This is from the record plat. This is their lot, and they have that 50-foot building limit. So, and here's our zoning ordinance where it's required to be at least 35 feet back for the front yard setback. The applicant would like to build the single-family residence with a front yard setback of 35 feet due to the topography of the lot and septic placement. The building line limit variance from the record plat and the proposed plan is 15 feet. So they're asking for a 15 feet variance. Here's the plan provided. So here is Zachary Drive, where they live, the 15-foot right-of-way, and they are requesting to put the setback at 35 feet, and they have the septic area here, and then there's a tree line in the back. And as you can see, this big black box in the middle is their house. So this is the lot in question. This is looking at it straight on. And this is looking at it from the western side and from the eastern side. So in summary, the proposed building line limit variance, the record plat required building line limit setback is 50 feet. The requested building line limit setback is 35 feet. So they're requesting a variance of 15 feet. I will say that this does meet like our zoning requirements for the area. So it's just their subdivision in particular had that 50-foot building line setback. So for potential conditions of approval, the variance shall only apply to the application considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. Now this might be confusing, so if you have any questions, let me know.
Are there any other properties in the area, in the subdivision, that have a similar setback?
I'm not familiar with that. I will say that they did get a letter, I believe, and I'll let the applicant speak to this. I believe they did have HOA approval of this, but I don't think there is any other ones in the neighborhood that are built with the 35.
I think there was a note saying the homeowner association was never actually formed. And this ties into my next question of, wouldn't it be a variance then required by the developer?
I mean, the developer doesn't own the property.
Right.
Anymore. I mean, the subdivision was developed like decades and decades ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is just one of like the last buildable lots in the subdivision.
So the letter, can you read the letter that you have?
That the applicant submitted.
Oh, it's just in the, yeah, I thought you don't have a letter.
From the HOA,
Yeah.
no, I don't believe so.
Okay.
He'll speak to that. There's a board of directors that never been formed, but I'll let him speak to it.
Okay.
We've done one of these before in Brentwood, which is a newer subdivision, just because of a lot line and having to pull it in front of the building limit line. So we've had these cases come before y'all before. The easiest thing is this just makes this cleaner. And I get your question that, this should be something that the HOA would approve. It just makes it cleaner. There's going to be something on record then when somebody 10 years down the road goes, why is that house built so far up? And we get a complaint is that we go, oh no, there was a variance granted. So it just makes the process cleaner. It makes the entire.
I just wanted to make sure this was the proper venue for that.
Okay.
sorry if I misspoke. I thought there was the HOA got approval, but I'll let the homeowner
Okay.
speak to that.
Board, any other questions for Anna?
Are there houses on either side?
So I believe there's a house on this side that's got to be relatively new. I'm not sure when this Google Street View was taken, but in our aerial footage, there's 2 lots that are empty here. But there is a house here, but there's those large trees on the rear.
Is that 3 lots that we're looking at there?
I believe so, from what I can tell.
Okay.
But I will say, our aerial footage is only so up to date. So, as you can see, this lot is empty, but I believe this is where they built that house neighboring them. But I'll let the applicant speak to it because it's his property, so he's going to be way more familiar with the location than I am.
Good.
So.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thanks, Anna. Okay, testimony from the applicant. Need your name and address and be sworn in.
Good morning.
Morning.
Do I need to be sworn in?
Yeah, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, need your name and address also.
Louis Welly, 12218 Ridgeview Drive, Goshen, Kentucky, 40026.
Okay.
Good morning.
Tell us about your project.
My wife and I are both retired. We like to RV and travel a little bit. Currently, our deed of restrictions prohibits RVs being parked in our property, so we have to, we store it in LaGrange. It's an ordeal to get it home, pack it up and go, and we'd like to make this easier on us as we age. I've been looking for property for the past couple of years, trying to find something that's not overly large. This was the first 1-acre lot I've found that's flat. It looks like it would work well for the project to have an on-site RV garage that's attached. As such, we put a bid in on the property, had a septic survey done prior to ensure that we'd have adequate septic, and understood where that was. When we did that, that was approved, and we bought the property, then talked to several builders. Part of the deed of restriction states that garages should be side-facing. There are several houses already that have a variance on that, and said that, with developer approval, you could have a forward-facing garage. I reached out to the developer with tentative plans, got approval from the previous developer that that would be fine from his perspective. When we started laying this out, because of the RV garage at 45 feet deep, and then trying to adhere to the deed of restrictions where we've got side-facing garages for the other 2, it kind of, gets us to a property depth of about 80 feet for all of that. And then with the septic set forward, if we put it at the required 50-foot setback, the rear of the property or that garage actually and basement encroaches on that site evaluation area we have. And I've met with 3 builders that have looked at the lot, and they said because of the topology, the garage really should be on the right-hand side, and we should try to move the house to the right as much as we can. So that kind of forces further encroachment into that septic area. So what we're asking for is a variance to move the house forward to 35 feet, which still meets the county requirements for that. Currently, there is no homeowners association. Although there was a deed of restrictions, the HOA was never formed. They've never collected dues. So my understanding is that's defunct. I don't know that I've got anything else. Should we not be able to build with this current setback, it will impact us that we're going to have to shift the house off center by 20 to 30 feet, and it will limit our backyard usage of this, because then we've got to shift it back another 15 feet towards the large trees behind the property. I'm not sure I've got anything else to say at this point.
Good.
What is the square area in the yellow shaded area?
Oh, so that's the shaded yellow is the requested setback variance.
But what is the black area in that yellow?
Oh, that's the house layout. I'm sorry, that is a garage. So the house itself, would still be behind the 50-foot area. That is the side-facing garage on the front of the property. So that will be a two-car garage that you'd come in from the right-hand side. And I've got pictures, if you want to see, of 3D rendering of the house, if that helps, and/or floor plans.
Other questions from the board?
Do you know, are there other houses in that neighborhood that have been brought forward less than the 50 feet?
Since I'm a new lot owner and I've only met the adjoining neighbors, I really don't have any information regarding that. And it's difficult to tell driving around. Citing 15-foot variance on a house with landscaping, all that's difficult to do without, pulling records, I think.
Other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So testimony from anyone speaking in favor of the applicant? Testimony from anyone who's opposed to the applicant? Any closing comments from the applicant or anybody else? No? Okay. Ready to close the floor and open up for board discussion?
Yes.
I don't really like the idea of it being in front of the rest of them. Well, I can't say that, but I'm just opposed to it being in front of the other houses.
Okay.
It can be redesigned, stretched out a little bit.
I feel like that's typically the responsibility of the homeowner association to enforce that, but I'm curious how long the subdivision has existed without any actual board forming. But it feels like with their absence, someone has to make a choice in this situation, and I don't see any problems with it because it does meet, the county regulations.
Right. I agree. So typically, we try to not get involved in homeowners association issues unless they object, and we try to understand what they are. But as you point out, it does comply with the 35-foot setback of county regulations. Also, there's no, objections from the community or the neighborhood. So I can understand why he wants to move it forward and preserve the backyard. He could move it a little bit further back to the septic area, but I don't find it offensive.
Just by the looks of the lay of the lot, it can be redesigned to make
Yeah,
it
it could be.
applicable.
Any other discussion?
Does it open up risks for the county if we make this decision in the future? Does it create like a risk for the county if we make this decision? Could a future homeowner association come and say, hey, this house is in the wrong spot, you made the wrong choice, it's on the county to pay for it being moved?
No.
Okay.
Because, they hadn't, there's an opportunity for them to come in and complain now.
Okay.
They haven't come and complained.
Okay.
This, again, he's got deed restrictions he's got to deal with, and he's done what he can to deal with it. I can't say that a neighbor couldn't, if there's, are there deed restrictions, just no HOA, right?
There's no HOA, that's correct.
But there's deed restrictions and there's a plat, right?
Yes, there's a plat. And the plat does show 50-foot, I think she.
So we're asking to change the recorded plat, right? I mean, that's essential, we're,
A variance from that.
from the recorded plat. I mean, I don't know what the language on the plat is, but, his risk might be that one of the neighbors complains about it, but I don't think it exposes the county in any way.
Okay.
Would it be any different from any other case that they have 30 days to appeal?
Here, yeah. I mean, obviously, anybody could appeal that decision, what I'm saying is that we don't have anything to do with the deed restrictions. We're just allowing a variance from a recorded plat, and nobody's coming to complain about it, but if there's some restriction that says it's 50 feet in the restrictions, one of the neighbors could complain later, and that's something he would have to deal with, but that doesn't expose the county in any way.
So I agree with that. Just remember in the binders that you all are given when you first get on, one of the very first few pages talks about compliance with deed restrictions, and that our job as the county Board of Adjustments and county planning is not to enforce or try to interpret deed restrictions or restrictions of the neighborhood. That's the HOA's job. So he's in compliance with what our county regs are at 35 feet. The neighbors were notified. Nobody is here to speak against. Nobody has sent in a letter. We don't know if there's an active HOA. The thing that's tough with our office is if we had to put a binder with every single deed restriction of every single neighborhood in Oldham County, we'd have 85 books we'd have to go reference every time somebody came in. So it makes our job downright impossible, and to even figure out what active HOAs are in the county and which ones aren't, and who's in charge of it today and who's in charge of it tomorrow. So it's a never-ending thing. So we enforce and interpret our county zoning regulations, which...
So, Ryan, on that note, so why are we even discussing this then?
Once again, I think just to make it cleaner is that there's a case on file, there's a location variance that was asked for, and it was granted. There's going to be a record with testimony. It just makes it cleaner. But you're right. I mean, we could...
Well, and the plat that we're looking at right here was approved by the Planning Commission, right?
Yeah.
So the Planning Commission has approved the plat with a 50-foot building limit, and this gentleman is asking for a variance from a recorded instrument that was approved by the Planning Commission. So that's why we're here.
All right. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we're ready for a motion.
Motion to approve OC 25-039. It's a variance from the recorded plat building line setback of 15 feet because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause a hazard or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations because there have been because it fits with the general character of the neighborhood. There's been no objections to it up to this point, and based on evidence that we've seen today, it fits with the county's comprehensive plan.
And conditions of approval?
This variance shall only apply to the application considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, you're approved. Thank you. Okay, so now we go to OC 25-40.
An application has been filed requesting a maximum lot coverage variance for property located at 3620 Old Sligo Road, LaGrange.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Microsoft.
Good morning, Sandy Rugg-Roden, Oldham County Planning and Zoning. Today we're here for 3620 Old Sligo Road in LaGrange, a maximum lot coverage variance. An application has been filed requesting a maximum lot coverage variance for a property located at 3620 Old Sligo Road, LaGrange. The property is zoned AG1 agriculture and the land use is undeveloped. There is an abandoned pool on it, but...
An abandoned what?
Pool. Yeah, I have pictures of it later. It's 0.63 acres. There is no site history. The case was posted to the website on August 29th. Adjoining property owners were noticed on September 2nd, and public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on September 11th, 2025. Here is an aerial of the property. zoning. It's all AG1. So the existing parcel is a legal non-conforming use as is below 1 acre minimum at 0.63 acres. However, the parcel was created prior to the 1989 1 acre minimum rule. The applicant is constructing a new home with a coverage porch and garage for a total square footage of 6,400 square feet. I did fix it and get some of the packets fixed. It says 6,200 in some of them, but it's actually 6,400, and the rest of the calculations are correct. According to section 020-020, AG1 agriculture regulations, the maximum lot coverage allowed is 20%. For this particular parcel, that coverage equates to 5,488.56 square feet. The proposed home with a covered porch and garage will be approximately 6,400 square feet. This square footage equals approximately 23.32%. The applicant is requesting a 3.32 approximately maximum lot coverage variance in order to construct a new home with a covered porch and garage. Here is the layout of the property. And here are some photos of the property where you see that it's mostly undeveloped except for that pool. And here's the zoning ordinance saying that it's 20% of the lot area can be covered. So in summary, the proposed maximum lot coverage for a structure variance, the required lot coverage, maximum lot coverage is 20%. The lot size is 27,442.82 square feet. The maximum lot coverage permitted is 5,488.56 square feet. The proposed home, porch, and garage total coverage is 6,400 square feet with a total proposed lot coverage of 23.32%, and the requested variance is 3.32%. Potential condition of approval, the variance shall only apply to the application considered September 18th, 2025, Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
Thank you. Questions of staff?
Any letters for or against?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Testimony from the applicant?
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Name and address.
Kyle Kaminsky, 148 Walnut Drive, Pendleton, Kentucky. I've never done this before, so.
Tell us what you want to do.
So basically, I'm building a house for my family, and I got the septic approval from Charlie, and really, I comply with the square footage without the porches, and so really, I'm just needing to build porches, and they goes over the square footage allowed. So that's pretty much where I'm at. Pretty simple.
Does your family live nearby then? Is that like the adjacent property, or?
No, so actually, it was a family farm, and the two brothers live on the either side. I guess I don't know what happened with this little sliver I bought, but it was their parents before, and I don't really know what happened there. So, yeah, so we live in Henry County right now, and I'm from Oldham County, and I want my son to go to Oldham County schools, so
Okay.
that's why we are trying to move back.
Okay. Questions from the board of the applicant? No?
If we didn't grant this variance, how would that become a hardship?
I mean, I've looked for years for land in Oldham County, and it kind of wouldn't fit our plans that we have. You know, I know it's, I mean, it just wouldn't look right. The house wouldn't look right either without the porches.
Would you be okay with a conditional use saying that the porches wouldn't be used as like living space or something like that?
Say that again?
Would you be okay with the covered porches with some conditional use, what am I trying to say? Basically, a condition of approval that the covered porch would not be used for like an enclosed living space?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be used for living space, just sitting outside recreational.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board? Did you need? Did you need to say something? No, okay. Okay, thank you. Testimony from anybody in support of the applicant? Testimony from anybody opposing the applicant? Any closing comments? I think we've heard it all. Closing the floor for discussion.
I'm good.
And discussion among board. Anybody? Any comments?
I just don't want to see the exterior, the exterior spaces be converted to, living space to, because I think that could occur within the conditions that are proposed here. And then that's why we might need the condition for approval.
Good reason for you to make the motion then.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're ready for a motion.
Yeah, let me double check the number.
I move that we approve the Oldham County 20-040 because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare, and will not alter the essential character or general vicinity, will not cause a hazard, nuisance, or to the public, will not allow unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations. The strict application of the provisions and the regulations would deprive the applicant of the reasonable use of the land and would create an unnecessary hardship in the application for the fact that he can't use or can't build a family home. The variance of approval to the variance shall apply only to the application considered on September 18th, 2025 at Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
I'd like to amend that and also have the variance specifically listed of the 711.44 square feet to also include based on evidence as seen today, and to, well, it's I guess technically not my motion, but I'd like to include that the exterior porch space cannot be used for living space.
We can add that, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Second.
Second. Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm in favor. And so it's unanimous. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So next is,
Next, I also want to thank Anna for getting this process started for me because it's almost exactly the same thing as her previous case.
case 41, right?
An application has been filed requesting a front yard building line variance for property located at 1532 Kramer Drive in LaGrange.
An application has been filed requesting a building line limit variance for property located at 1532 Kramer Drive in LaGrange. It is currently zoned R2 residential with the land use as residential, and it's 1.31 acres. There is no site history. It was posted to the website on August 29th. Adjoining property owners were noticed on September 2nd, and public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on 9/11. Here is an aerial of the property. And here is the zoning. It's all R2. The applicant is requesting a building line limit variance for proposed addition at 1532 Kramer Drive in LaGrange. According to Oldham County Zoning Ordinance 060-020, the front yard setback requirement in R2 zoning is 35 feet. However, the parcel is located in Kramer Place subdivision. When the subdivision plat was recorded, the subdivision required a 50-foot building line limit. Due to the irregular shape of the lot and the curve of the front of the property line, the builders cannot meet the 50-foot building line limit restriction. The proposed front setback is 43 feet, 7 feet beyond the required recorded plat setback restrictions. So you see right here, this is the building line limit, and then the corner of it is encroaching on that 50 foot. Close up of that, so you can see. Here is photos of the property. The circle right there is approximately where the addition is going to go, and you see that there's the sharp turn around the corner there. And then here is our zoning requirement, which is 35 feet, and it is going to be 43 feet, so it's beyond our required setback. In summary, the required building line limit is 50 feet, requested building line limit is 43 with a variance request of 7 feet. Potential condition of approval, the variance shall only apply to applications considered at the September 18th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. I did not receive any letters in favor or against this project.
Okay.
And there's no site history either?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Thank you. Testimony from the applicant?
Lance Meadows, 1532 Camer Drive.
Lindy Meadows, 1532 Camer Drive.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
We are requesting a 7-foot variance for the corner of the addition of onto our home. We are building an addition to basically house my in-laws, my wife's parents. They are elderly, but they also have a daughter, her sister, who is special needs. So we're looking to build a home to make sure that it's ADA compliant for her and for them as they get older. They've had some health issues recently, and it's becoming more of an urgency for us to get something for them to be close by so she doesn't have to drive to Frankfurt in the middle of the night to assist or help with a sister. The home also it's a 1,200 square foot home. It's a bit of a reduction from the size that they're used to, but hopefully it'll be a comfortable home for them. And there's no obstructions from view or anything of that nature. So I think we're really just adding the 7 feet on the corner. So that's all I have to say, I think.
Okay. Questions of the applicant?
Are you in an area where there's a homeowners association?
We do have a homeowners association. We've gone through the bylaws, and the home meets all the requirements of the HOA. There's no restrictions on the HOA that would prevent it from being built.
The HOA didn't require those setbacks?
Nothing in the HOA bylaws.
Is the home on septic or sewer?
The home is on a septic. It'll probably be moving. There is the neighborhood has a sewage line, and we'll probably be moving off of the septic and tapping into the sewage at this point.
Okay, with the addition, is there enough capacity? I assume you'll be putting like another bathroom into the home.
The current septic tank is just a little too small, which is why we're going to move. We're going to go ahead and tap into the sewage lines that are existing.
Okay, I didn't know that was definitive. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
No worries.
Other questions from the board?
When was the garage built?
The garage?
Yes. It was you purchased?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. It also falls within the 50-yard. That's why I was curious.
Oh, yeah.
We did not realize that until the survey for the addition.
Yeah.
Other questions from the board? No? We good? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Testimony from anybody supporting or in favor of the applicant? Testimony from anybody opposed to the applicant? Any additional comments, closing comments? Okay, closing the floor for discussion and discussion among the board.
I'm fine with it. My only question is, can we also basically say that the existing garage is also perfectly fine in the same motion, just in case there are questions in the future?
I don't know, that's a legal question.
I don't think that's before you.
Okay.
That's pre-existing, and I mean, somebody should have complained about it by now. It's
True.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? We're ready for a motion then?
All right, I'm going to try this one.
All right.
I make a motion to approve the variance for OC 25041 for the 7-foot setback variance because it will not adversely affect the public health, safety, or welfare. It will not alter the essential character of the general vicinity, will not cause hazardous or nuisance to the public, and will not allow an unreasonable circumvention of the requirements of the zoning regulations because based on the shape of that particular lot, The requested variance arises from special circumstances which do not generally apply to the land in the general vicinity or in the same zone. And this variance shall apply only to the application considered at the September 8th, 2025 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing.
We got a good motion.
All right, good.
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye for me. And you're approved. Thank you. Other business? Anything else we need to talk about? I see that there's a new, okay, minutes. Minutes go first. So we have the minutes from August 6th, just one set. Minutes from Wednesday, August 6th, 2025.
I move accept the minutes from August 6th, 2025.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, then other business.
Right, so a few things. One is I know Bill has been kind of our acting chairman for a couple months now. Was going to do nominations this month, but then when I read in the bylaws, nominations for the following year can take place anytime between October and January. So I thought, let's just hold off another. So next month, come in, be prepared to make your nominations for new members for chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. That meeting, on that note, will be October 15th. We do already have cases. Filing deadline was yesterday, so we do have cases. So we'll have that meeting on October 15th. You all were provided, I think, new KRS 100 packets today, I believe. There's not a whole lot of changes in there. The big one is the training requirements that changed the past legislative session. So that's a big change in there. And I know John, who put most of them together, said there were some, kind of numbers that changed. But pretty much just go home and plop that in your binder where the old one was.
So I have a question. Training for new members. So we're going to probably be getting a new member eventually. So they need to be trained before they can be approved or to sit? Is that?
No, really the way it reads is they have to have, and I don't have it in front of me to read it verbatim, but I sent that email yesterday which sort of spells out the new member training, which has to be the 4 hours within the first year. Okay. And one of those has to be in housing. Your all's, which used to be 8 hours every 2 years, is now 8 hours every 4 years. And one of those hours has to be in housing. So I sent that document out with links that provide you all a lot of different opportunities. There's even some on there that are podcasts you can listen to about housing supply and attainability and affordability and all that good stuff. So that'll at least hopefully be able to knock out that 1 hour for that requirement. So for those of you, if you have questions on your training hours right now, because I know some of you all are in the midst of maybe a 2-year cycle, after that 2-year cycle ends, what I've been doing is just starting that 4-year cycle in from that point. So it's probably not something anybody on any of our boards is going to have to worry about because I like to train. So the more information I can send you all to do training on your own, but then also still looking at be able to doing, training in here before you all on days when we don't have a very big docket. Maybe talk Barry into giving you all a class on motion making and things like that. I've talked to the county surveyor about coming in and talking about surveys. So still wanting to do things that are pertinent to us. If we get new regulations in place, we'll go over those, count that as training, things of that nature. But that document yesterday kind of spelled out those new requirements and then gave you all plenty of options to take a look at and all that good stuff. So that was the other thing I had was the training thing that I sent out yesterday. So I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
So I guess we have a motion to adjourn then?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.